Hi, I'm Drew.
I'm Harley.
I'm Nancy, and we're the Bound in Book podcast. You can expect a fun time, some curse words, and a lot of discussion. Our episodes will both feature guests and be conversations between the three of us.
We do intend to stay spoiler-free for the majority of our shows. Our guest episodes will feature a spoiler section towards the end. We are here to be an author, reader, and industry at large safe space to discuss books, opinions, and feelings. But we are going to keep it positive.
We want listeners to know that we are not here to bash your favorite stories or authors, but may discuss things we didn't like too. And we hope you join our discussion over on social media and enjoy the episode. Welcome to the August bonus episode, everybody.
Welcome. We have our lovely author friend Tay Rose with us today. And Tay Rose is the author of the Solstice Cycle, an adult high romantic fantasy series, and loves to draw inspiration from the natural world in crafting tales of magic and love. A lawyer by day, author by night, she lives in Nashville, Tennessee with her sweet pup and way too many books.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome.
That was very cute.
Thank
That
you.
was very cute. Thank you.
Very fancy from the website.
Thank you. Website creds goes to Amanda. She did that. I played very little part in it, but
It's so beautiful.
she crushed it. She did such a good job.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. She's so talented.
She really is.
I know. When she was like, I want to get into designing, doing author websites and things like that, and getting into that sort of role as a PA. And she's like, I just want to do yours just to say that I've done it and to use it as like, a reference on my website. And I was like, please go right ahead. Yeah, she crushed it better than I ever could have done. That was like a big thing for me. I never had a website because I just had no idea what I was doing. So she took care of me.
Every time I see somebody be like, I need help with my author signature, I'm like, Amanda. Ask Amanda. She'll make you a beautiful signature.
Absolutely. She did mine. She designed my author signature, and it was just like I had just chicken scratchings before, and it's so much better now. I don't know how she does it. It's bewilders me. So how are y'all doing? How's everyone doing? Nancy, I haven't heard from you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I went to a used bookstore earlier, so got some book shopping in.
Oh shoot. Did you get anything?
I did. I didn't find much of what I was looking for, but I've been wanting to try mixing in some classics into my reading. So I got some Shakespeare.
Oh, I love it.
Ooh, fancy.
I bought The Taming of the Shrew the last time I went to the used bookstore. I've wanted to do the same. We'll see if I can actually read them, but I don't know. They're like $1, like what are you gonna do?
I got 4 for like $8, so it's like
exactly.
Not a big deal, but I plan on reading them at some point, but with all the arcs I have coming up, we'll see if it actually happens.
It's about to be Arcmageddon 2.0, huh?
Yeah.
That's all right. That's fine.
I updated my spreadsheet today because I had a new one come in my email, and I've got like 16 between now and the end of October.
Oh,
I have Scourged and another book that releases. It was either the day before or the day after Scourged.
Fear the Flames?
No,
okay.
It's a contemporary romance.
Oh, okay.
It's called
Fear the Flames releases the day before. Okay, never heard of that one. My Polite Lost.
I got the arc for Fear the Flames, and I read the indie, and I really like what she did. I like the changes she made.
That's fun. I'm unfamiliar.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Okay. I read, oh my gosh. Guys, I just finished an arc of a book that was not a fantasy. It was a paranormal romance. I'm expanding.
What was it called?
Timber Hollow.
Oh,
it's by Mindy Pettingill.
Okay.
She did the Mazikeen books.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's a like a second chance paranormal romance. Like small town moving back to your hometown and falling back in love with a guy you like dated from high school.
Oh, that's
But
cute.
What's the paranormal part? Are they werewolves? Are they like
yeah, they're shifters.
oh hot?
Yeah.
So
They're
wait, is
all
this an Omegaverse?
no.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought it might be, but it is not. At least not as of the end of this book. I don't know if it's a first in series or a standalone. That hasn't been made completely clear. But no, it's just a solo verse.
Okay.
Solo verse.
Yeah.
Are there like the fun shifter sex things or
There's
not?
one. There's one.
Okay.
But like it's weird because they do like a partial shift and a full shift.
Oh,
What is
oh.
partial? Do their dicks just shift?
No, like the whole full body shift.
Oh.
But in the partial, like it's like, huh. Okay.
I don't know, but when I was reading, listen, when I was reading the scene where they do like the partial shift, the way it was described, I was picturing Remus Lupin from Harry Potter.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh my god. That's not cute.
No, it's
It was not
not.
cute, and then it went into like a sex scene, and I was like, "Oh, that's not what that is."
Oh Jesus.
But there's other shifters that are around. Like there's an anaconda shifter, and there's a bear shifter, and some coyotes.
Anaconda.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's a
Huh.
girl. It's a girly too. So
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Is that the last book you read, Harley?
yeah, I just finished it like the other day. I haven't started anything new yet because I've been drawing stuff.
Oh, nice. Well, we normally like talk about the books we just read. So, what
Mhm.
besides Scourged, what are you reading currently?
I'm still reading An Ember in the Ashes. I have been reading can I curse here?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say that I read it so fucking slow. Because I feel like saying freaking wouldn't um appropriately capture how slow I've been reading. But yeah, I've been reading so fucking slow because of editing this damn book. There we go. I'm just unleashed now. Um so I've been reading Ember in the Ashes for literally like a month. I don't think it's ever taken me a month to read a book ever in my life, but here I am. And it's not because it's not amazing. It's fantastic and I easily could have binged it. I just haven't had time. So I've been reading that and it's amazing. I also started reading, like I don't like taking my physical books to the pool. So I've been taking my Kindle to the pool and I started reading one of the Clisanian books, um, those alien romances.
Yeah.
I think I'm on using Feiho now. And I'm
Ooh,
like 50% of the way through that one. And they're just a great time. I have no complaints about them ever. They do what they need to do, and I love it so much. So
amazing. I love that series. Ever since like when you told me about it, I literally binged the whole thing. And I was
I
like,
know.
"Fuck, I'm done. I'm done with it. What do
I
I
think
do?"
she's got another one coming out soon. I think
Yeah, she
Rago's
does.
book. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited for
I
that
try to
one.
space them out for when I need something fun, palate cleanser to read. Because I know I could easily just inhale them all in like a matter of 3 weeks. So
That's
I've been kind of trying to force myself to space them out a little bit because they're just so good. I can't even explain it. Like
no, you're right. They just like scratch that itch. It's like something. It's like fun. It's light. It's
but
like you know what to expect from her writing too. Like she's very like consistent in her
exactly.
writing.
Exactly. And the plots are easy and like the world building, even though it's aliens, it makes sense.
Mhm.
And I'm able to just kind of turn my brain off and enjoy these two aliens just getting mates and these men going to husbandry school and learning how to cook dinner and give a girl an orgasm. Like that's just what else? There is nothing better than that. So I can't complain at all. And I like that they look like people, that they look like they're human. You know, they're not like Ice Planet Barbarians where they're blue and have tails and horns. Like they look like people. And I'm like, this feels a little bit less weird to me.
Yeah.
Even though I do love a good blue alien, so who am I to judge?
And they purr. Can't forget.
Mm-hmm. They've got to purr. They've got to have a thing. They do purr.
Yeah.
There are mates. There's like weird breeding kink obsessions, which that's fine. It's fun. So again, it's like really fun to read these by the pool too, because like all these kids playing around me, and I'm just reading like the dirtiest alien smut ever, and I'm like, yeah, this is girlhood right here. So
Too true.
Nancy, what are you reading?
So, because I technically read so much all at once, I'm just gonna say what I'm focusing on right now.
Perfect.
So I just finished up an arc the other day, so I dove back into my threaded reread, which I am also reading at a snail's pace for physical books, so I don't know if I'll have that done before arcs go out.
I heard that book is like just okay.
Like it's all right.
I wouldn't
it's all
be
right.
rereading it
Like
if they were just okay.
Like it's there's better. I'm kidding.
I don't know. Someone told me today, and I quote, "She's inspiring my writing." I don't know.
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh, that's weird. Godspeed. Godspeed her. That's an amazing compliment. I'm sorry, I'm being a dork, but that's an amazing compliment. But yeah, that makes me feel things. Let's move on.
I'm also listening to Fate and Furies currently. I had to put it on hold for a few days because of Spotify, but my hours renewed, so I'll be diving back into that.
Hell yeah.
I still need to read Slaying the Shadow. Is that what it's Slaying the Shadow Prince?
Yeah.
And I need to read Fate and Furies too. I've read through. No, wait, sorry. Fate and Furies is book 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've read that one. I read them out of order. My bad. But I haven't read book 4 yet. Sorry, Helen.
Did you read Slaying the Shadow Prince yet, Nancy? Or
No,
did
not
you listen to
Yeah.
it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I read it before. I texted you guys when I was
She
reading
did.
it.
Yeah. She got
my brain's not on.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, I
sorry.
did read it between books 2 and 3 like y'all told me to, and I'm glad that I did.
Good girl.
Yeah, I messed up. I should have read it between 2 and 3, and I didn't. I just moved right along to 3, and then while I was reading book 3, I was like, I really should have read Slaying the Shadow Prince, but it's too late now. So I'll just go back and read it. I think the cliffhanger after book 3 is better than the cliffhanger after book 2. The book 2 one was like, well, I gotta know what happens next. Like, I can't just stop. So the audacity of authors to write a cliffhanger like that, I swear.
Yeah, so crazy how that happens.
Fucking rude.
Yeah, really wild. I almost gave a spoiler
like-
away.
It's like getting a taste of my own medicine almost, right? Like it feels like karma kind of coming back to bite me a little bit, and that's fine. I love it to death. I love a good cliffhanger. Like just leave me there hanging. I love it. It's great.
That's why I had such a good time. Nicole was reading The Storm King a while ago, and she was like live reacting in Sheila's server, and that ends on a I don't remember if you've read it yet or not, but surprise, surprise, it ends on a cliffhanger.
Of course. Any book mid-series, I just expect a cliffhanger. Like I just know it's coming. You can't not expect it. It's gonna happen. How do you wrap up? How do you end a book in a continuing series without a cliffhanger? I digress. But
so like the first book had not like a cliffhanger, but like more like a rolling hill. Like you could yeet yourself off of it, but like you weren't if you were shoved, you weren't just like dropping straight down.
Yeah.
And book 2 was very much the same unless I'm forgetting something. Like there was like a cliffhanger moment, but then we like got like a chapter after that.
You had a resolution chapter.
Yeah, and
or
then
like a come down chapter or something. Yeah.
We didn't get that in the Storm King. Sheila just throws you right off the cliff. And so when Nicole was reading it, we're like, huh, what's that like?
What's that like to read that?
What's it like?
Oh, we know. We know what it's like. We've been It's great. I love it so much. It's fun.
I just have committed specifically with like you group of like friend authors, because I've heard you talk about it, but in genre, a lot of the general in genre authors too, I just have like committed to trusting the process because I'm like,
That's good.
I've seen you and Sheila and Penn and most of the other Coven authors like maybe not screeching, but like politely yelling about genre expectations and how it feels very like your readers are going to be angry with you and it feels deceitful to not follow the genre expectations. And I'm like, cool, cool,
Absolutely.
cool, 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 cool. So we're in a romance fantasy setting. So I'm going to
Yeah.
trust the process.
Yeah, I think we all kind of subscribe to that, right? That, if you're writing in a romance-esque genre, like fantasy romance, if you're going to market it as something that's got a romance in it, readers are going to expect a happily ever after at some point, right? Like my only point, I got into a fight on Threads about this once. Some
It
girls
was
trying to tell me
great.
that every single book has to end in a happily ever after if you're going to say it's a if it's a romance. And I said, well, no, not in fantasy romance, because we have series long arcs, right? Like the story arc is not resolved in a single book. That's not the point of this. It's very much a continuing installment on each book. And so you will not get your you'll have happy moments, but you won't get your happily ever after until the end of the final book, right? Or you're happily for now, or whatever it looks like. But there will be something that will make you be like, okay, like I can move on with my life and be happy with the way that ended. Especially with regards to the romance in particular, not just like the plot overall, but it has to be like specific to the romance, right? Like so and so got together and however that may look like, and they go about their merry way. So, oh yeah, it's just going to take a lot of pain to get there,
The more the merrier or something like that,
something that's what they say, I guess. So,
I guess.
yeah.
Okay. We're gonna hop into our spoiler-free section. So like if it's general knowledge about your book, you're fine, but if it's like more of a spoiler, then you're just gonna omit that part of your answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That sounds good.
And before we hop in, a lot of these are similar actually to the listener questions that we got, and which is actually I thought really cool because I've been like kind of keeping a little list of questions, and I'm like, that's awesome that the questions are kind of like very, very similar. So the first one that is a question actually that Libby and I both had was how do you
Mhm.
stay organized with such an intricate and masterful political system?
That is a great question. I have no idea. Okay, I mean, all right, like I guess it just kind of you have to understand like how my brain works, right? Like I have a very I don't want to say type A, just like a very like I think everything has to make sense in my mind for it to like me be able to explain. I've got to be able to explain it to myself before I can explain it to anybody else, essentially. So I guess I don't know like how you stay organized. And like it's just kind of like it just I've lived in it for so long and it feels real. And I've answered all of the questions I've asked myself. So even something that like doesn't matter to the book, I for sure have thought about it and figured it out. Like I don't okay, so I don't know if y'all know this, but I have a bachelor's degree in biology. So I have this like really random science STEM background in my educational history. And I'm, a lawyer now, so like I do that. But like it is a part of like I spent a lot of my life, um, in a sort of STEM setting, and that's kind of where you ask yourself questions, and you have to answer them, and everything kind of has to make sense in order for you to move on to the next component of your question. And that's I think kind of translated into like when it comes to world building, and it's like why fantasy was something I always wanted to write is that you kind of have to stay organized and ask yourself all these questions and then answer all of them. And the result is, of course, like a super deep and fleshed out world, but it's the only way I could do it in a way that would make sense to me. Like, I don't think that I could like just write in a world where I didn't have all the answers. Like, I have to know how everything works for it to like actually be able to move on and focus on the characters and, the relationships and the dialogue and then all the things that like make a book fun. I don't think I could be able to write those unless I've figured out the basic structure of how the world works, if that's making any sense at all.
That makes sense to me, but also it sounds exhausting to be in your brain sometimes.
It's definitely exhausting. My brain never shuts up. It's really quite annoying. It's fine. It's why I go to sleep like with the TV on and a sound machine because it's the only way I can get my brain to just shut up to drown it all out. Um, so yeah, well, I mean, so I'll be honest, like writing has helped, I guess, like because I growing up, like I used to like go to sleep, and how I would put myself to sleep at night is I would like make up a story in my mind and tell it to myself. And that's how I would fall asleep at night because I didn't have a TV in my room as a kid. So I just make up stories and I'll just tell them to myself. And it was like a ongoing story every single night. I would pick up right where I left off and like keep going and just like keep telling myself a story every night. And so I guess that piece of things kind of finally stopped because I finally, stopped just dreaming about it at night to put myself to sleep and, wrote them down. Um, but that's, that's just, I guess, one of those things. Like you get into a little wormhole late at night thinking about some random, piece of this world and how are you going to figure it out? And then you just go down this tangent and hopefully you remember it the next day, but sometimes you don't. But, you know, um, so it is exhausting, but it's fun too. It's fun in here. Welcome.
Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Yeah, you get to see a little bit when you read my books. Like that's like a little bit snippet of what it's like to be in my head, which is terrifying, but that's how it is.
In more of a tangible sense, do you have, like, a whole spreadsheet or, like, with all the little intricacies that, like you said, like, aren't necessarily a part of the book, but, like, that you just know the answers to?
Oh yeah, I have like 3 notebooks at this point full of just random crap.
Oh, I love that.
Um, just yeah, like I've got one that I used to like initially plot the series and like do random world building and like just write it all out. And then I kind of have one notebook per book that I do. So yeah, I like to handwrite things. I don't like it to be on a computer. It just feels a little like, I guess, stale and like inorganic when it's on the computer, which makes 0 sense
Mhm.
because I write my books on a computer. But like for the notes portion, like I feel like I have more creativity when I just have like a blank piece of scrapbook paper in front of me and I can just like write out the randomness that's in my head.
Yeah, no, totally. And then, like, in that same vein, what was your inspiration for the magic system?
um, well, I didn't want to write a world where they couldn't use running water and flushable toilets. Um, that sounded awful to me. Like I get that it's fantasy and that could be like a thing, but I did not want to imagine living in that. So yeah, so I kind of figured, when it comes to the magic system, like, well, I want something that kind of functions like electricity would, right? And that would kind of advance the civilization a little further while still making it feel fantasy, right? Because I don't want to write, an urban fantasy or anything like that. I wanted it to still be, feel, how your typical fantasy feels, but at the same time have a lot of our modern creature comforts. And then of course, I wanted to be able to have a waffle maker because I don't know how people made waffles before they had waffle makers. I tried Googling it. Google didn't help me. I didn't know how it worked. I was like, fuck it. I want a waffle maker. Waffle makers need to be plugged into the wall. This is what's going to happen.
I would hate to live in a world where I couldn't like flush the toilet.
Right? Having to just use like because I mean, I don't know if you've been to like, London or like any place where there's like an ancient, like an old castle, but there's like the holes outside the walls and stuff where like the shit chutes used to be. And it was like a tunnel through the wall. Like they had like mock toilets or whatever, and they would just like sit over them and then shit into them, and they would just like go out the
No.
walls. I'm like, well, that's disgusting. Like, no thanks. I don't think I want that at all.
Yeah, absolutely not. So you have a really big cast of like your main group of characters. I think like 10 if I'm including the whole armature. How do
hmm
you balance all those personalities and what made you decide on 7 instead of a smaller, maybe a little more manageable number like 3 or 4 or 5?
That's another great question, and I probably should have. Right? I think. I think I was being quite ambitious with it. There is a reason for the 7. I can't tell you the reason because it's a spoiler. But there is a reason, and you'll one day find out the reason, maybe in books 3 or 4. I'm not sure. One day. So that like there was a reason for the 7. Um, and again, it had to do with like, how I built the world and everything like that and the history and whatever. But you looking back, it is a large cast. And as far as balancing personalities, it was definitely a struggle, especially with that first book. And I'll keep it spoiler free, right? But we don't really get to see a whole lot of everyone's personalities in book 1. And that's fine. I was able to live with that. And I think I focused on what I needed to focus on with book 1, and that's because you kind of have to, pick and choose how you want to write your books, and that's kind of where I settled. Um, but the fun part about writing book 2, Scourged, is that I've gotten the pages and the word counts now to start exploring, this large cast of characters and getting to see, more of their interpersonal interactions with each other. Because that's where you could really get to explore how they think and what they do. Is you put two of them in a room together and you have them talk, right, and have them do whatever they're going to do. Book 1, I kind of was limited in how they want to do that because again, not no spoilers, but I really wanted to have basically a complete romance arc within the first book for reasons. So I wanted it to like have a logical, full romance arc while also doing the world building and setting the plot and everything like that. I want to have it all done in book 1. And to do that, that meant I couldn't focus so much on the side characters in the secondary cast. I kind of had to focus on the mains a whole lot, right? Like I had to focus on my 2 main characters, the 2 the love interests. And that's again that I'm happy with it. It's how it worked out, but it did kind of limit me in the ability to explore these other characters. But that's been the fun part about again book 2. It will be really fun about books 3 and 4 as well because we know the world now. We get what's happening. We understand the conflicts. Now we get to put more of these characters together and start seeing how they interact and exploring their depth and what drives them and what makes them unique. So I mean, something I didn't quite have figured out, I guess, when I started writing Threaded. But when I started writing Scourged, it kind of became necessary, and it was a lot of fun to kind of explore and journey throughout the way.
That's so exciting. I'm excited to meet or just learn more about the various folks on the armature.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you've met them all, right? Like I want to make sure like
Yeah.
you've met them all and you know who they are, and they're not random people coming into the cast in book 2. Because again, that would just make no sense, especially given how they're introduced. But they're there. You get little teeny snippets of them. You don't really know them, and so it's been fun to like not only like introduce like myself to them because I get to know them through writing them. I didn't really get to write them in Threaded, so I got to know them too and Scourge. So it's been fun to get to know them, and then hopefully, you guys get to know them too. So I can't wait for that. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. There's like 2 characters I'm specifically like very excited to spend some time in their heads. And assuming that we do get those, I don't know because I obviously haven't read anything besides the first book, but I'm certainly excited to spend some more time with them.
I'm sure we'll address that in the spoiler section. Yeah.
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 So we've got a couple of author questions about being an author in general. Meredith wanted to know, what are your tips for managing being an author while having a full-time job as well?
Oh, that's such a good question. I mean, it kind of sucks, but like I guess the tips are always that like you physically cannot do it all, and the sooner you recognize that you can't do it all, the happier your life is going to be, right? Like if you want to be an author and work full time, which I think is the situation for most authors. I don't think, and unless you're, a bestseller and really doing crazy things or writing 3 books per year, authoring is probably not your full time job, and that's totally fine, right? That's we do we need to. But for most of us, it's something we do kind of on the side or as a second job, and you kind of do have to make sacrifices if it's something that you really want to do. Um, and you kind of have to choose what are you willing to let go of in order to accomplish this goal of being an author. Um, while also working full time. And, for me, it was, I work, 9 to 5 or whatever, and I get home and I make dinner, I work out, and then I sit at my computer and I write or I edit or something. And I don't really read a whole lot during the week anymore. And that's kind of what has had to go, is reading as much as I used to. Because I used to, that time I used to spend writing, I would spend reading, or I would spend, watching a TV show. So it's like I don't watch TV as much. I don't read as much. And instead I write. And that kind of makes me sad. I love to read. Reading's like my first love. It'll always be my first love. And I want to get back into reading more. And I'm hoping once this book releases, I'll be able to take some time and read a little bit to kind of refill the well, so to speak. Right. I think people hear about authors talking about the creative well, and it's a real thing. Like it gets depleted and you have to kind of take some time to refill it before you can start working on a new project. And while I'm ready to start working on book 3, I definitely need to take some time to like refill the well. Especially working, during the day, and you spend a lot of your mental energy at work and doing that, and coming home and having to spend more of it essentially, is a lot. So yeah, I mean, like I said, just my biggest piece of advice is just be prepared to make sacrifices. Like it's not going to be easy, and thinking that you can just do it and just do it all is just going to be a really easy recipe for burnout. And so it's just really about knowing what you want and what are you willing to give up, at least for a short period of time, to make your dreams happen. And then once they happen, you get to kind of enjoy and bask in that success and that knowledge that, you did it. You did something that you were proud of. So,
And then our other question in that same vein is, what is some advice you'd give to authors who are just starting out?
oh my goodness. My I guess it depends on where they are when they're first starting out. Like, if they're just sitting down to start writing their book, right? They've got an idea, they want to see what happens. My biggest piece of advice is just focus your energy on getting that book done. Whether it means, plotting for a while and then writing it, or writing a bit and then stopping and plotting and then rewriting, whatever it looks like. Take your time writing that first book. Don't feel like you need to rush it to get out there. Readers will be there and waiting for it, however long it takes you. Um, take your time with it. Enjoy the process of writing a book without readers breathing down your neck for the second one, right? um, because I wish I had enjoyed that a little bit more than I did, right? I wish I had really savored the process of writing that first book and not feeling like I had to announce it right away and start marketing it right away and doing all the things with it right away. I wish I had slowed myself down and just enjoyed the process of just being creative for just a little bit. I mean, you're still able to be creative when you're after the fact, and it's fine, but it's just a whole different ball game when you've got a book release and you're trying to write a new book and you're trying to market it, and you're also doing, fielding, DMs and, merch requests, and, just all kinds of things happen once you publish. And, things just kind of build as it goes along too. So, that's definitely my number one piece of advice, is just savor that moment, write that book, write that first book, and then, slowly start working on getting the things like, thinking about hiring an editor, thinking about cover design, all that kind of stuff. That should wait until you've got that book done and you're feeling good about it. Because you won't have that time to take your time with it ever again. So,
I never thought about, yeah. I never
yeah.
thought about that. That does make sense though, especially if you leave off on a cliffhanger.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, and even if you don't leave off on a cliffhanger, you're still going to, hopefully garner readers with that first
Yeah.
book. And you're still going to have people being like, well, when's your next release? Like, I want to read your next book. And you're never going to have the same peace that you have as when you are working on your debut. And so my advice is like, don't be looking for the grass is always greener and getting the book done. Like, enjoy the moment that you're in and savor it, and um, just don't rush it. It's a good time. So
That's really good. I do have another question because Jax asked this a few episodes ago. I think it was when we were interviewing Nicole. The way she phrased it was really funny. So, on the scale of Penn to Sheila, how are you with your plotting?
Is Sheila a hardcore plotter? I haven't talked to her about
No,
this.
Sheila's a major pantser.
Okay. I am like, so one is a super plotter, right? And Sheila's a super pantster.
Yeah, so Penn is a super
Super plotter,
Yeah.
right? Okay. I'm probably somewhere around 3. I lean more towards Penn's end of the spectrum than I do, I think, Sheila's end of the spectrum, if that makes sense. I before I start writing a book, I kind of have to know the ending. I don't think I could just sit down and write a book without knowing how it ends. So I need to know. I like to break them up into acts, right? So like in book 2, you'll see parts 1, parts 2, part 3. You can think of that like acts of a play, right? Act 1, act 2, act 3. And that's kind of how I have to plot things too. I have to plot my first act, have to plot my second act, and plot my third act. I've got to know kind of, what each act is working towards, what's the, climax of each act. And then of course, what's the climax of the book? And then, what's the kind of what we're working to, what's the big, scene at the end that I'm working towards. I've kind of got to know those things before I can start writing. And this is where my little notebooks come in. I like to handwrite all this. So like I said, I don't like the sterile feel of like doing this on a computer. I need to just feel free and like uninhibited. So I guess that's where the notebooks are. So I have notebooks and I just kind of map this all out, part 1, part 2, part 3. And now, I have, like you guys said, I have so many characters and they're all going to start playing more of an active role, and they each have their own arcs that are kind of specific to them. So it even becomes more like narrow to that. So I have to be like map out, okay, so here's Mariah's arc. This is where she starts. This is where I want her to end in part 1. Andrea, this is how he starts, how he ends in part 1. Sebastian, same thing. So I kind of have to go character by character, and then I have to like, well, how do they all interacting with each other? How's that playing out? I kind of have to know all that before I start working. I don't have it broken down by chapter like Penn does. I do that a little bit later once I've got a feel for how the book might look, and kind of a big, broad overview of things. And then I bust out my handy dandy sticky notes, and I spend like an afternoon going through like chapter 1 has these scenes, chapter 2 has these scenes, chapter 3 has these scenes, and I just kind of like go through and stick them up on my wall. And it's just really quick, short form of what I want in each chapter. And that covers my wall for a time. And as I work on a chapter, I pull the sticky note down and I stick it in my notebook and I write it. So that's kind of how it goes. It's chaotic, but I guess it works for my brain somehow.
Do you write chronologically, like start to end of the book?
Yes. Yeah. I don't think I can write out of order. If I get an idea for a scene later on, I will write it down on my notebook, but I will not work on it until it is time to work on it. So okay. I'll usually just stew on it. Like I'll let it just stew in the back of my mind, like in the shower, like any place like that where I just have like a moment to think. But I won't write it until I get to it. I don't think I can write out of order because the characters, I need to know where they're at mentally before I can get there. And I don't know what they're at mentally until I've gone through the journey with them to get to that point, if that makes any sense.
That makes sense.
Do you have any more author questions, Nancy, before we move on to our silly, goofy questions?
I think I'm good.
Okay, then our first silly, goofy question is, I guess this one. Okay, dealer's choice, fuck, marry, kill, the armature.
Are y'all gonna do this too, or is it just me?
We can do it too if you want.
No, I can do it first, but then I do want you to do it too. Okay. Fuck, marry, kill, the armature. Okay. Okay. They're my boys. They're my baby boys. I don't know. Damn it. Damn it. Oh God. I think I want to fuck Quentin.
Yeah.
I think I would. I think that would be a really good time. Like sitting here blushing.
These are your children.
I think that would. I know. These are my sons. And I write about them. I read about them having sex a lot, so it's fine. I think I would want to. I think Quentin would want to do it in a weird place too, and I think that would be a really fun story to tell later on in life. Um, while you're in your youth, why not? And
You're
then
doing a lot of justifying why you want to fuck Quentin.
yeah, I would want to fuck Quentin. I would probably marry Andrian, and that's a hot take. That's a hot take, but I would want to marry scourged Andrian, and that's all I'll
Oh,
say. And that's all I'll
Okay.
say.
okay.
Who are you killing?
I'm going to kill okay, so that, this isn't actually gonna happen in the books, I swear to God.
Okay, sure, we believe that.
No.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't want to kill anyone.
Well, you have to. So.
Not in the book.
You don't have to kill anybody in the books that you don't want to, but right here on the show you do.
Okay. I would probably kill yeah, I would kill Sebastian.
What?
What?
I think people are gonna really hate that.
Libby's gonna fight you.
Yeah.
Sweet baby, what did he do?
I think it's because he's a sweet baby. I think he's too good for this world, and I want to save him the pain of it and just go ahead and end it early.
I'm jaw on the floor right now.
That is a hot take. Hot take.
Hot take from the author right here.
You heard it first, folks.
Fuck Quentin, marry Andrea, and kill Sebastian.
Okay, Nancy, FMK, what are your choices?
It's hard to pick because I don't know enough about, I feel like
Most
the
of
only
them,
ones I really
right?
know is Andrea, Sebastian, and Quentin.
We can just do those three. We can do our fuck, marry, kill between those three.
Okay, well,
Okay,
I think mine's gonna end up being a hot take too then, but not the same one.
Are you killing Andrian?
Yeah. I was gonna say
Nancy. Look,
if I'm being limited to just those three, that
Tay's not gonna give you an arc anymore.
Nancy, I love you. You're a mod in my Discord.
Not anymore.
I don't know you anymore.
Look, are we doing just those three, or are we doing the whole armature? Because I can pick someone else.
No, you can do those three. It's okay. I'm only giving you shit, okay? You can kill Andrian. I don't blame you for killing Andrian.
I know him at the end
Threaded
of
Andrian.
Threaded, so.
And I don't blame you. I think he absolutely deserves to be have his balls sliced off and chucked off a cliff. It's fine. But read Scourged and come back to me and talk about it.
Maybe I'm sure I'll be yelling at you in the Discord while I'm reading.
Yeah. Maybe you'll still hate him.
But
I don't know. I think he's
We'll
he's everything. Yeah.
This is gonna be
anyways,
fun.
Okay, who would you? Okay, so you would kill Andrian. Who would you fuck?
Quentin and marry Sebastian.
That's expected. Yeah.
I think
I would marry Sebastian for the same reason that you would kill him.
Because he's too good.
That's
yes,
fair.
he is this angel baby.
I too, in fact, have what I think is a hot take because I don't agree with either of you all the way.
Yes, here we go.
Okay.
All right.
Getting spicy.
I'm playing by the Natalia Jaster rules, in which I also get to fuck my husband. Sorry, guys.
So Quentin.
Correct.
I mean,
yeah.
I saw that coming.
I always use though.
Yeah, so I'm marrying him. I'm fucking Andrea, and I'm also killing Sebastian.
See, everyone wants to fuck Andrian at least once, right? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
For
no,
sure.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I'm for sure
Nancy's gonna
fucking
fuck him and then
Andrian.
she kills him.
We all know Andrian would rock your world. Like,
100%.
come on.
One hundo.
Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
fucking Andrian. I'm marrying Sebastian because I just need a nice boy to take care of me.
Yeah,
I'm enough fire for the 2 of us, it'll be fine. And then I'm sorry I'm killing Quentin.
that's okay. That's okay.
That's not okay.
He's had a really hard life. So, I mean, that's
Drew, we're
fine.
gonna fucking fight.
He can then maybe it'll be like a sweet reprieve.
That's true.
True.
Sorry.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Who knows? Who knows what could happen?
Oh god, no, don't say that.
Yeah, don't say that.
Tabs finished it today, so you can ask her what happened.
Oh my god, she's not gonna give
She
us
won't tell
anything.
you,
Yeah,
but
she won't.
He's a steel vault.
She'll just
I
send us, like,
texted her.
vague emojis.
Did you guys know? So I got her number from somebody, but I hadn't texted her yet. And so the very first text I sent her was asking for spoilers from The Godless Kingdom.
Oh
And I
my
said, I will
god.
give you all of my coven dollars. And it was like a photo of 3 of my little coven dollar emojis or my cabana dollars. And it was like a photo of 3 of those. And I asked for things and she just texts back, just ha ha ha, like in all caps, like how she does. And I was like, oh. Okay. She didn't even have my number or anything. I'm like, you don't even know who this is.
that's just, who knows? She just says, okay. Here, this is one of the comments she read today. She left today in Score. She said, the bitches are gonna lose their goddamn minds. That's what she commented in the doc. So,
Nice. I can't wait.
to lose your goddamn minds.
I can't wait. No, I can't wait.
Are you okay?
No, I'm
Drew,
not
are you
okay. No, I'm not okay. Physically, I'm not okay, and mentally, I'm not okay.
Yeah, me too, actually. I'm not okay in any way.
So our next fun question it's technically 2 questions. Do you have a favorite type of waffle and a favorite, I guess, way to eat potatoes? Favorite kind of potato?
Way to eat potatoes is hilarious.
Way to eat potatoes. So waffles. So weird random thing. I actually don't eat a whole lot of waffles. I feel like I might have mentioned this before, but like
You did.
I'm not a huge waffle girl. Mariah is the waffle girl. I'm not so much. I mean, I love a good waffle. Don't get me wrong. I don't like sweet breakfasts. I like savory breakfasts. So, like I love hash browns. That type of potato. I love hash browns for breakfast. Potatoes for breakfast. That's good. Waffles, I got to be in the right mood for a waffle. But I do love like a good like chocolate chip waffle with some raspberries on it, some syrup. That's good. That's a good waffle. Buckwheat waffles. I love buckwheat in general though. So
I've never
I
had a
don't know.
buckwheat waffle.
You can make buckwheat waffles. They're good. They're gluten free too. Not that, I don't really care about that, but
I love gluten.
I do too. I do too. But yeah, so as far as waffles go, that's that. And the potatoes, man. Okay, so have y'all ever had cheesy scalloped potatoes?
Cheesy
Yeah.
what potatoes?
Cheesy
Yes.
scalloped
Yes.
potatoes?
So good.
Yeah.
It's been so long
Yeah,
since
and then
I've had those.
and then you bake them, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Mm-hmm,
Those are so good.
Yeah, that's my shit right there. That's it's got potatoes and it's got cheese. Yeah, that's it. That's the move right there. So, but also like a good just like baked potato, like a good baked russet potato, that shit slaps too. Yeah. That's good.
I'm a slut for a tater tot.
Tater tots are good too. I love
I
tater
just
tot.
want potatoes and waffles.
I had fries for dinner. Well, and a burger, but I did also have fries.
The picture of health.
Yeah. It was made at my house. I didn't like drive through somewhere. I made them.
That's good. That's good.
Well, by I made them, I mean Josiah made them.
Yeah.
They were made at my house.
Homemade.
Yes. Yes. Someone at your house made them.
Yeah. I buttered the buns.
Yeah, you did.
Always. If you I'm gonna move on that
I'm
note.
starting to get tipsy, so if y'all wanna ask me weird questions, I'll probably answer them at this point.
What does Neo mean, Tay?
I'm not gonna answer that one. So
We gotta let
I
her get a
have
little more tipsy before we try
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I have
me
actually
too.
something really funny to tell you about that when we get into the spoiler section because it's something that Jenny texted me the other day and I have to tell you because it's so funny.
Okay,
Okay.
well, yes, spoilers. Yes, write it
I've
down
got
and we'll come back to it.
I've got one more question and then we're gonna hop into spoilers.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
If you got to pick one of your characters to be your partner on The Amazing Race, who would you pick?
Oh. I've never actually watched The Amazing Race. I'm gonna Google it. What
Only one of us has watched it, and it's Harley.
what's the premise of The Amazing Race? What am I doing here?
You are competing for dollars and you are completing
Okay.
a task that's either like a physical task, like you might be like physically racing to a spot and you have to like go up a hill, or you have to collect like a stamp from like 10 different vendors in this foreign city or like something like that.
Okay.
Oftentimes it's directly related to the culture of the city that you're in. And
Okay.
sometimes it's just like a random fucking task. Like this one
Okay.
episode that I watched, I don't know where they were, so don't ask me that. But it was like your choices for the task where you got to like lay vinyl, like the car vinyl when you wrap a car, like lay vinyl on like a specific part, like car part, or you got to like create tortillas. Those were your two choices. And you could do either of
Okay.
them. And then it was like the 10 fastest teams went to the next.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Yeah, Dristan. Dristan's my partner for it. Absolutely.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100% I want Dristan on my team. I don't want anybody else. They can all get lost. Tristan and I are gonna win this thing.
On that note, let's go into spoilers and then you can tell me why.
Yeah.
Great idea. Great idea.
Do you want me to just go ahead? I mean, I can't. Okay, so I can't get too far into spoilers. But Dristan is good at just about everything. Like I feel like he's good at talking to people. Uh, and he's good. He's smart. He's like strong. He can do all the things, all the physical things, right? Um, but then yeah, he's also pretty good at making people do what he wants them to do. And then I don't know. I think Tristan would crush this. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I can't explain too much more. But Tristan's my partner in this for sure, and
Well, I
we'll be
was
crushing
hoping you would
everyone.
just do a really big spoiler.
No, unfortunately, no. If you caught me next week, maybe, but not this week.
Wow.
Which by the time this will be out, people will know. Maybe,
Well,
right?
if they zoom, this is coming out on the 30th, so like I'll probably know, me personally, because I zoom.
Yeah, and arcs go out on the 28th. Yeah, you
Yeah,
read fast. Yeah.
I do, yeah.
No. Some people may know. Some people may not. That's okay. But
Tabs knows.
yeah, Tabs knows. Yes, that is true. That is true. Libby knows. Libby's read everything. But yeah, Driss is my choice for sure. He's the one. He's the one I want
Okay,
on my
perfect.
team. None of you else can have him. Sorry. Farron would be a good choice too. He'd be another good choice. But Dristan's my partner for sure.
I'm so excited to learn about why.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
just the details.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Now that we're in this is the spoiler section. I did not actually technically announce that, but we're in the spoiler section now.
You
I've
did.
already
I think you did.
kind of
Maybe.
I've already forgotten what I was going to tell you that Jenny said.
I told you to write it down.
I didn't. So I'll tell you when I remember. I'll text it to you because I've
Well, what
already.
if we
Okay.
wanna know?
I'll tell
Yeah.
you too.
Come
Yeah,
on.
Harley.
Well, does anyone remember what I was gonna say?
Why
No.
would I remember what you were gonna say?
Does anyone remember any
It was
context
about
around what I was gonna say?
Scourge. I feel like it was about Scourge.
It was definitely about Scourge. Oh, it was about the meaning of something.
Oh,
Neo. We
okay,
were
okay,
talking
okay.
about
That's right.
Neo.
Okay, let me find it. 1 second.
Okay, if we just, like, rapid fire guess, will you give us, like, a hot or cold?
Okay, let me
For like the
read.
meaning of Neo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, but can't promise I would answer truthfully.
Oh
Like,
god, okay, well, I should have expected that.
Okay, so we were talking about bingo boards, and she just put something a little bit like generic. She's like, we find out what Neo means, something like that. That was a little more generic, and I
yeah.
was like, but then she changed it, and it said Neo means something akin to love, and I was like, okay, well, I like that you're actually like guessing because that's on a lot of people's bingo board. Is it just says we find out what Neo means, but
Yeah,
Jenny
because I
said
think I've
something
teased that. Like, so I'll tell y'all now. You do find out what Neo means. Like, you do
cool.
Oh,
find
hell
out.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, continue, Harley.
So I text her back. I'm like, I like that you're actually predicting what it means, and she goes, yeah, I'm keeping it like a little bit vague because like I think it's something where it's like akin to love. Maybe it's not just like a singular word though. She's like, but I can't tell if it'll be like that or if it's like, nah, it means baby girl.
So I mean, it means bitch. Like, please, I already told you guys this in thread in.
Right.
Okay,
Like,
sure.
come on, that's what it
But
means.
it was just
It's not
very
what it means.
funny, and I was like, baby girl, please. I would be like, it would just make me laugh really hard. And she was like, no, I don't
That
actually
would
think that
be
that's what it means.
really funny. I will say it does not mean baby girl.
Perfect.
Cross that one off the list.
Cross that one off the list. It does not mean baby girl. What's that from? Is that from Deadpool and Wolverine? Like, he has risen, baby girl. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not what it means. No.
Okay. I do have some thoughts on what it means, and since I was like, we're gonna talk about what like we think is gonna happen in Scourged for like a minute, and then you can laugh at us when we're
Yeah, you
all
can
wrong.
propose it, and I'll just sit here and just not say anything. I mean, I'll say things, but you can say whatever you want. So
My thoughts were is that it's somewhere along the lines of like my queen, my bonded, my soul, my other half, like something along those lines was my thought.
Mm.
okay,
Yeah,
all
same.
right.
I was thinking, like, other half of my soul, like,
Reasonable thoughts in your humble opinion?
the star in my sky. I don't know, some sweet,
Oh, that's
sappy
so
shit like
cute.
that.
Oh, fuck.
No!
That's not it. That's not it. I swear to God, that's not it. But that's really fucking cute. That
Writing
reminds me of
that
like,
writing
so I shared that snippet the other day with that new art that I got, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Reminds me of that, where it's like, even if this world lost its moons, you would still be mine.
I'm gonna cry like a fucking baby with this book.
I can't wait to fucking cry about it.
Oh, yeah.
I've
Oh, yeah.
even I've cried over it a few times. I told Tabs I exercised some demons with it. She said, "Yeah, I can tell."
Okay,
Um,
I love
Oh.
it. Oh, I love a good
I
therapy book.
I haven't
yeah,
cried
it
since I
is.
read Breaker, so
I therapize. So I mean, that's something I tend to do with my writing in general, right? I do therapize myself, and I acknowledge this. Like, I know that I have a lot of exposition where I just kind of talk internally, the character's talking internally, right?
Mhm.
And I love writing those scenes, and people will be like, "Oh, you should just cut those." Or not. I'm like, "No, but they're important to me, and they're important to the character, so like, I'm not going to." Um, but like, I do tend to write a lot of those scenes, and there's quite a few of them in Scourge too, just because it's a more that it's a heavier book. There's some really intense things that happen, especially in the first part, um, that need to be processed. And so part two is a lot of processing these things and emotionally dealing with a lot of the fallout and things like that. And it's like yeah, there's a lot of like deep exposition and deep POV of like characters just sitting with their feelings and thinking through them. Or having conversations where they're kind of talking through things that happened, and it hurt a little bit, especially like when you could put a little bit of your own trauma into some of these things, and you force yourself to process them too.
Mhm.
Um, it gets it's part of the fun, I think, of writing, is that you get to explore those things in kind of a safe place for yourself, right? Um, uh, yeah. So I don't know. I had a lot of fun writing it, and I had a lot of not fun writing it at the same time. But I felt like it was really necessary, and it's the book I needed to write for myself at this point in time. And Yeah. I mean, I hope people get from it what I got from it for myself. That's all I can really hope for, right? Is that whoever reads it feels at least part of the thing that I got from it when I was writing it for myself. So
That's so exciting. That's actually one of the things that I'm looking forward to the most, given how threaded ends, like obviously with the whiplash that we get when
yeah.
Andrian suddenly just like fucking kidnaps her. We're
Yeah.
like, okay, well, that's obviously not not how that relationship is gonna end. At least I don't think so. I have no reason to believe that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so interested to learn how, okay, well, what actually happened? Why did he act like this? How do they move past that?
And that's a lot of what this book is, right? Because I mean, I'm not going to get into details, but imagine you're Mariah, right? And obviously, like they're the end game couple in this whole thing, right? Like that's not a secret here. I don't think anybody would be like thinking that's a spoiler or anything that's a secret. Like obviously, like they're the main couple. Um, and so that's a part, a lot of the things that I process through, especially with myself and also with Mariah, is like how do you deal with this sort of betrayal from someone that close to you, right? And how do you process that, and how do you come back from that and forgive that person, and basically the world for everything. So that's part of the things that hurt to work through, but were really fun at the same time. So
Do I don't know if you'll tell us this or not. Do we get new point of view characters in Scorched?
yes.
Will you tell us who?
That was a lawyer answer right there. So like in the legal field, like you ask a question like so if you ask a question that could be answered by yes or no, we're going to answer by yes or no and not elaborate on it. Sit there and stare at you. So yeah, so yes, you do get new points of view characters. I'll tell you one of them. I won't tell you the other. Um, so one of them is Sienna. You do get Sienna's POV.
Yay!
So
Love
excited for that.
Sienna.
Can we know
Yeah,
if the other one is male or female?
it's a female.
Oh,
But you
Ooh.
don't know her. You did not meet her in Threaded. It is a brand new character.
Oh.
what?
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah, baby.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Yeah, one new character. And she will be pretty major moving forward. But there's a reason she was not introduced until book 2. But yeah, she gets introduced in book 2, and you will absolutely, I think I might have mentioned this, but you will absolutely hate her when you first meet her in Scourged. And then
Yes,
you'll
I
get
love
her
it.
PO,
I think I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
and then then you'll get her POV later on in the book, and you'll get her POV again at the end, and hopefully you'll soften a little bit towards her, because she's incredibly complicated. I think as most female and all characters are, honestly,
Mm.
people are complicated. People are complex. That's what I love about character writing, is understanding that people are complicated. It's not always black and white. Most people live in a shade of gray, right? And you're not always in agree with everything someone does, but at least you can find reason with it. And that's what I try to do with a lot of these characters. So
I'm very excited.
I'm excited too. I keep thinking about. I get progressively more and more excited. Like for a while, I was pretty scared of this book, because it takes some risks. But I am also very excited for you guys to read it. I'm very proud of it. So
Well, I can't wait to be proud of it too.
My mind is just like whirring right now. I'm just like, what is she gonna do to us?
Is there anything else we want to speculate on before we hop into our couple spoiler questions that we have?
Oh, I do have one question. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
already addressed this in Discord, but do we jump right in where Threaded left off?
So I mean, so the prologue in chapter 1 is available right now, right? So
Oh,
you
I
can,
don't read those
yeah.
because I have no patience and then I'll just make myself
No,
mad.
I totally get it. So yeah. So I'll go ahead and say this because the prologue and chapter 1 are currently available. I feel like people can go read it and it'll be fine. But yes, so the prologue starts off with the immediate aftermath of what happens at the end of Threaded, but it's told from Sebastian's POV. So it's basically Sebastian finding out. It's Sebastian finding out that Mariah's gone, right?
Oh, wait, I did read that.
Okay, so that's well, there you go. So that's the prologue. So yes, and then chapter 1 is 6 weeks later, 6 weeks after that. It starts off in Mariah's POV. So it's basically 6 weeks after she was taken.
Mhm.
And it's quite sad.
I agree. It
Can't
is
wait.
quite sad.
No one seemed really excited at the end of chapter 1, which makes sense because it is the way it ends. It's like, well, fuck.
Yeah, you gave us like a little cliffy.
And I couldn't give you chapter 2. And once you read chapter 2, you'll understand why. I couldn't let that be a freebie chapter. It's too much. It's too much.
Oh.
So we jump right into it. Like we jump right on into it. Get ready.
I'm now scared for chapter 2.
So chapter 2 is one of the harder ones that was for me to write. Chapter 14 is the one that I truly hate, and that I hate going back and reading and editing. It makes me sick to my stomach. But it's great.
Oh, that's so early on too. I can't wait.
Yeah, part one is brutal. Part one's brutal for sure. And part 3 is brutal. Part 2 is like more of like what I talked about, the more internalized exposition section. And it's the bulk of the book, honestly. There's some exciting bits that happen, things that move forward a little bit, but a lot of it is just processing and therapizing myself and the characters a little bit. But that's what I do, so I can't help myself.
But I think you said this before. It's another cliffhanger at the end, right? Or have you not said that?
It is. Yes, it is
Yeah.
another cliffhanger at the end. Because again, it is the second book in a series. It's kind of gotta be. It won't leave you hanging as much as Threaded did, right? So Threaded kind of ended on the big thing and you don't get the aftermath of it, right?
Mhm.
Scourged will not end on the big thing. You will see the aftermath of the big thing. And it will end on a cliffhanger, but it's more of a cliffhanger of kind of where we're going in book 3, if that makes any sense at all.
Okay. I'll take it.
Right.
Okay.
So, and it definitely, the last line, it'll get you hyped. It should get you excited for like what's to come in books 3 and 4. But it won't be as much of like, you'll want to know what happens next, of course. It's like any cliffhanger, but like you won't feel like I just dropped you off a ledge and then left you there to die.
Like Threaded?
Yeah, like Threaded did. So like again, like the big thing will happen, I think probably like, so 74 chapters, right? The big thing will happen probably in chapter 70 through 72. And then 73 and 74 will be kind of more of wind down and setting up for the next books. So
Okay. I think I can survive that, perhaps.
yeah, perhaps. You'll be with me the whole time I'm drafting it, Harley. So who are you kidding?
I know. I'm gonna. It's okay. Every once in a while, I'll just get back. I'll text you, and it'll just be a voice memo of me screaming, and you'll be like, "Oh, you're thinking about my books again. Great."
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, you'll have a lot of questions answered, like theories will be answered, whether you guys were correct or not. But then I think a whole lot more, plenty more questions will arise. But, um, book 3, I'm excited to write because it'll be kind of the world expanding book, right?
Ooh.
We have, a lot of these other kingdoms and stuff in this world, as you can see, like from the map and everything like that, but we don't really get to go to them, right? We don't really go to them in book 2 either, just because of the way book 1 ended. I think that's kind of easy to assume. We have a singular focus in book 2, right?
Mhm.
So we don't really get to see the rest of this world. So book 3 is going to be a lot of world expanding and maybe seeing some of these other countries and other kingdoms that are like around this continent, right? Exploring the world more, other cultures, and how they function and what their interactions with Oneida are, and like more of those politics and things like that. So that's what I'm excited about for book 3, is to get into more of this like intercontinental drama in politics,
Okay.
I guess, as opposed to more not just like this singular kingdom in disarray. Like it's kind of spreading beyond that at this point, and I'm excited for that. So
I literally right now, just this moment, learned how you pronounce the name of your kingdom.
Oneida,
Yeah,
what did you think it was?
Oneida.
Same.
Yeah, Oneida. Oh,
Okay.
night.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. We can run through them all if you want.
Do it. Name them
Okay.
off.
So it's Oneida, and
Mhm.
then to the north is Lowrith, right? And then Cree is out to the, what is that? Never west. um, yeah. South is Idrix and Vatha, and off the coast are the Kaiser Islands. So that's it. Those are them.
Okay. Now I know. Now I can hear
Oneida.
your voice saying them. Oneida. Okay.
Oneida, Oneitan. If you're from Oneida, you're Oneidan, right?
Okay.
And then Varith is the city, the capital. You're Varith, or I can't talk. My God, Var, you're Varithian if you're from Varith. Anberg, Kento, Antorus, Edervan, Sakali, Talona, and Cassia. Those are your main places in Oneida. I'm
Okay.
proud of myself for that. Damn, it's like I made this world or something.
Yeah, very impressive. Okay, I actually also just recently learned that you pronounce the name of the country in Throne of Glass as Otterlin.
Oh,
That's how
what?
it's supposed to be pronounced. Otterland.
Yeah.
It's otter. It's like otter. Yeah.
No.
Drew,
Otterland.
how were you pronouncing it in your head, Drew?
A darlin.
That's what I thought
Like a
too.
hard D, like a
Yeah.
darlin.
I mean, I'll be honest, that's how I say it too, a darlin, until I saw the little pronunciation guy that said Otterlin, and I was like, well, that's stupid.
I only know
So,
because I heard it in audiobooks.
Otterlin.
Yeah.
So the people who only read the audiobooks, they say they think it's spelled like Otter land, like Otterland.
Yeah.
Which
So
would
one
make
of my
sense.
friends who's doing audio only, I don't remember how she spelled Manon's name, but she spelled it really fucking weird. And I was all,
I
who are you
cannot believe
talking?
it's Manon. It is not Manon. It is Manon. I'm so sorry. Like, I cannot shake that one.
I
I
feel like
know it's
Manon
Manon.
fits. I feel like Manon fits her a little, or yeah.
Right? Manon fits. I know Manon is like an actual Scandinavian name, and all the names of the witches are Scandinavian. I get it. I understand. But I'm an ignorant American, and it's still going to be Manon in my mind.
Here's the thing. If I call her Manon and she lets me live, then it's allowed. I am alive.
That's
Yeah.
questionable.
If I'm alive?
Yeah, who's to say?
Am I a ghost or a vampire?
Who's to
I
say? Not me.
I think I would just pass out if I ever saw Manon in real life. I wouldn't even get to say chance to say her
I would
name.
shit my pants.
Yeah. Like if we want to talk about the original mommy, that's her right there.
Oh, yes. Mother.
Yeah. Yeah, mother. Please.
Do you think when SJM wrote that character, she was like, this is going to be everyone's mommy?
Yes, absolutely.
I want to know what she's like in real life.
I I think she's a lot like us. I don't know. I can just only speculate. Most authors I've spoken to are all kind of similar though, in that we have bizarrely overactive imaginations and we're a little bit crazy. So
That's fair. Let's hop into our last couple questions. Let's get a little bit back on track. See if we can get through these 3 questions in the next 30 minutes.
okay.
So Jess wanted to know if you could change anything in the books, what would it be?
Ugh. It's such a tough question. I know. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the question, Jess. God, I don't know. I mean, like I said, there's a reason I have so many characters, but it's now having 2 books on my belt. If I could go back and change it, I think I would try to make it so I had fewer characters. Um, if only just because commissioning entire cast portrait arts is outrageous.
Oh god, that's so
Um,
true.
so like I love having a large cast. So I'm like a big Game of Thrones fan. I don't think there's anybody's surprised, but like I love Game of Thrones. I love large cast, dynamic cast. Like I love putting a bunch of different people into a room together and seeing what they do. Like that is so much fun to me. I love watching TV shows like that. I love reading books like that. And I wanted to write a book like that where I had a big cast of different people, put them all in a room together and just what happens, right? Let them all just have their time. And so I love that about that. But at the same time, it is a lot. I know it's a lot for y'all as readers too, to like navigate knowing all of these characters and learning their names and what they look like and what their character personalities are. Like it's a lot and I get it. Like, so I guess if I could go back and change one thing, it would be redoing my world and everything a little bit to make it so I could have fewer core cast characters. Um, and I wouldn't want to, but like I guess if I had to do something, it would be that. Um, and I don't know. I've thought about making it like, oh, could I have made it a bit of a slower burn than it was, and less of like this like they want to bang each other all the time. But like that's part of the characters. So I don't think I would, because like when they like came, they started interacting. I was like, well, I can't really stop this. So they kind of took control a little bit. And again, like I said, I wanted to have a full romance arc in the first book, and you can't really have a true slow burn and also have a full romance arc in the same book, right? Um, so that's not really something I think I would change. I think I'm happy with the way that is. But I guess that's just the cast size, which I think for my next projects, it would be I'm planning having a smaller cast for my future projects. So, you live and you learn, but I'm happy with the way it turned out. So
Then actually, Drew, do you want to ask your question next?
Yeah, sure. So Meredith asked, do you have anything planned or in mind for after the solstice cycle is completed?
I knew that was coming from what I just said. Yes, I do. I have had a story idea in my head for probably like 6 months now. And it's going to just live in my head until I'm done with the solstice cycle. Like I'm pretty committed to only writing one series and one story at a time, because I don't want to get the characters mixed up. I don't want to get the stories mixed up. Like I want to keep them separate in my head, but I'm also going to let this other idea just live in my brain for a hot minute. But I can tease some things about it because I think it's super fun. I think a lot of people will be excited about it. So it'll be very much like a pirate-based fantasy. So, ships and water and all the things that come with that. I'm thinking based on mythologically accurate Greek sirens, which if you've read Greek mythology means that they have wings and are terrestrial creatures and are not mermaids essentially. So that's something that I'm playing with and I'm very excited to write more about. I think a lot of it will be inspired by Greek culture and Greek society, like ancient Greek culture and ancient Greek mythology and things like that. And a lot of it was centered around water, which is also something I'm excited to explore. Because I don't know if you guys know this or if me listening knows this, but I was a swimmer for like most of my life, like 17 years. I was a competitive swimmer. And so I've always wanted to write like a story that would be like a love letter to water and the impact water has had on my life and the impact water has on so many people's lives, not just mine as a swimmer, but like just humanity in general. Like humanity would not exist if it were not for water, and life would not exist if it were not for water. And I really want to like write a series that would be like a tribute, an homage to that essentially. So um I guess that's what's living in my brain at the moment and what will happen after the Solstice Cycle.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. So I hope you guys like pirates.
I love
Yeah.
pirates.
I mean, I'm committed to reading whatever you write at this point, so bring it on.
Yeah. I love pirates, but I love Tay Rose more than I love pirates.
Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. I mean, I hope it's a different take on pirates. You know, like you guys know me by this point, and you know my first book, right? Like I will write something politically heavy. That's just kind of what I like. Like I said, I like the whole character dynamics, put them in rooms, talk to each other. So maybe a pretty politically heavy pirate saga, not like a Pirates of the Caribbean where it's just like gunslinging battles, which is great. I love that shit. Don't get me wrong. But I imagine it would be like a bit more heavy and serious, with still some levity and fun things, and of course some romance because I can't not have a hot male lead. But I'm thinking he'll be a little bit more like he won't be as grumpy. Maybe I do love the grumpy ones, but I don't think he would be as grumpy. I don't know. He hasn't quite told me who he is yet, so we'll see.
That's so fun.
Exciting.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that one will be first person POV instead of third person. So
Oh.
yeah, because again, I want it to be this love letter to the water, so I want it to be like a singular person narrating, right?
Mhm.
Instead of a large dynamic cast. So I'm thinking it'll be a first person story. So it'll feel very different from the Solstice Cycle, but I think that's what I want. I don't want all my books and stories to feel the same. I want them to each feel a little bit different. So
That'll be fun. And I've seen like it's weird to say like people trending towards mermaids and like pirates and that type of story, but I've got a handful of author friends who either are currently writing or have just put out um pirate related stories or mermaid related stories. So I think it'll be fun to see fantasy trend that direction in the next couple of
oh
years.
yeah, it's definitely trending that way. Like, we're currently in the dragon era, right?
Yeah.
Like dragons is the thing right now. And that's fantastic for what Scorched is. Anyways, so like we're in the dragon era, right? But I do think like I think pirates and sirens and mermaids and all that kind of stuff is going to come back in the next 5 years or so. Because publishing does move slow. I think it's back already. Like readers want it.
Yeah.
Y'all obviously want it, but it'll start trending super hard the next couple of years. And that didn't really play a role in me wanting to write this story because, like I said, I've always wanted to write a story that paid homage to my background with water, and the impact it has on humanity, like I said. But it does also help at the same time, right?
Yeah.
That pirates and these kinds of themes are coming back and these kind of settings are coming back. I don't think dragons will ever go. I think dragons have always been popular. I think people love a dragon book. Dragons are just cool. Who doesn't love a good dragon? Like, please. So I love two things. I love the dragons. I love the water. I will write both of them a little bit. So
You know what's so funny is you and a number of your author friends have just like randomly introduced dragon or dragon-like creatures in like the second book of your series.
it does happen. We actually have talked about this too. Like and it's honestly just like the way that storytelling works, right? Like you don't want to give it all away in the first book. You want to leave something dangling out there. And so yeah. Yeah, and sometimes it is dragon. But like I said, like everyone loves dragons, especially when you talk to like people who write and read fantasy, right? Like my author friends. We fucking love dragons, all of us, right? Like that's just like a foundation of the genre. It is something we grew up loving, grew up reading about. Give us the dragons. So like, yeah, we're gonna want to try to incorporate them into our stories. And it is kind of funny how it comes out in the second book a little bit. I think it's all in different ways. I mean, of course, I've talked to them as well, and I think we all do something a little bit unique in the way that we introduce those elements to our stories, and it's really fun. to be friends with authors and know that, we can have something very similar to each other, but it all turns out so different. And the themes we convey and, what we the way it all, I guess, plays out on page is so different that it'll still feel new to the reader. And that's really just kind of fun. It's really nice though because you can recommend each other's books back and forth to our readers, right? Because if you liked our books, you like the things that we incorporated, you probably will like this other book because it has similar things just in a different way. And I think that's really fun. So
Well, I was actually just thinking about it, and I think 6 of you have dragons or dragon-ish
yeah,
creatures, and I'm like, I mean, look, don't get me, I fucking love dragons. I do. I just think it's interesting, like, how prevalent they are, and, like, all of you tell very, very different stories, and
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
even in different maybe different, like, subgenres of fantasy romance, for lack of a better classification, I suppose.
yeah.
Um, but, like, there's still that presence in all the stories.
Yeah, it's definitely fascinating. Like I said, we've talked about it, and we've all talked about how we do it, and I think each of us do it in a different way. I can think of 2 other authors that I'm friends with who introduce dragon creatures in their second book.
Yeah.
It's probably the same ones y'all are thinking of right now too. Um, but yeah, and I'll tell you what, like whatever happens on Scourge is very different from those 2 examples. And then those 2 examples are very different from each other too at the same
Yeah.
time, right? And again, I think it's just like a telltale sign of the fantasy romance genre. Like we are writing romance, right? We are writing stories about people falling in love, you know, what goes along with that. There's spice, there's fun things like that, but it also is fantasy at the same time, right? Like we abide by the rules of fantasy. And the rules of fantasy means, you have mythical creatures and you have crazy magic systems and you get to explore these new worlds and so it is still very much fantasy. It just happens to have romance in it, and you're going to follow the similar action beats as far as fantasy goes and as far as romance goes. And that's kind of an arts and crafts thing, I suppose, when it comes to writing books, because I mean it's just like it is an art, right, but it is also a craft. There's so many ways to do this, and a lot of us follow similar patterns to how you write a book and how you tell a story. Like you guys as readers, you probably don't even know it, but you expect a certain format to the way that you consume books and media. And that includes like TV shows and movies and everything like that. Like stories follow a recognizable structure. And so there's only so much you can really do with that. And if you deviate from that structure that, people like readers expect, you may get some pushback. So it's fun getting to play with the what's expected in the story, but also put your own twist on it and surprise readers in a way that they may not be expecting. So
That's actually, like, one of my favorite creative exercises, and, like, I'm not a writer, but I
mhm.
am a photographer, so different creative medium, right? Is you take your
Yeah.
group of friends who produce the same type of art as you do, and you give them the exact same prompt. Everybody's
Hmm.
gonna come back a week later with something completely different because you're not the same person, so you're creating from a different perspective.
Absolutely. We talk about that all the time, right? About how if you were to give 2 authors the exact same premise and prompt and everything, like say this is, she's chosen one. So I think a great example, I guess, the spoilers ahead for anybody who has read Threaded and who has read Spark of the Everflame. um, so spoilers ahead. But I think Penn and I are great examples of this, right? Because if you look at Spark, you look at Threaded, I've talked about how they're very much cousins, even though Penn and I did not know each other at all when we wrote our books. Um, but they're very much cousins in a way, about how it's like this commoner coming from a low-born background, chosen as the queen of the society that rejects her, essentially, right? You have that premise. And both Penn and I have that exact same premise in our stories, but we ended up writing very, very different executions of that same story. And it's fascinating. And I think it's hilarious. I always talk to Penn about this, and like that is honestly hysterical that you and I wrote such similar books, but they also feel so different. And I think it's like a perfect encapsulation of like how it is to write books, essentially. Like there's only so many ideas out there. And you can
Yeah.
give the same premise and same idea to two different authors and they will write completely different books, right? So yeah. I think I went on a tangent there, but yeah.
No, I love that comparison. And the comparison that I've made a couple of times is The Curse of Ophelia and Blood and Steel, because those are also
Mhm.
two very, very similar, if not almost identical premises, and the stories are just wildly, completely different.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. It is very much crazy. But I think it's just how artistic creation works. And we always talk about as authors, like I think I said this before, but there's a finite amount of original thought and ideas out there, right? There's only so much that the human brain can like actually come up with and invent as original. But it's an infinite number of outcomes from that one idea. So your execution of that idea will be unique to you. Every single author will infuse their own personality into it, their own history, their own personal relationships. Everything will be infused in their own story and it will create something unique, even with the same premise as maybe someone else was presented with. And so it's I don't know, it's fun. It's part of what makes reading and writing entertaining, I think at the same time, because we can pick up something we know we're gonna like and when we know is something we're familiar with, but we're gonna find something new with it along the way.
I agree. Okay, our last question. You've done a lot of this already, but I'm gonna ask
Mhm.
for more
I
because
talk a
that's
lot. I'm sorry. I've
oh, no, we
also am
love.
two glasses of wine deep and I'm about to get a third, so
Um, what little tidbits can you tell us about Scourge that you haven't already divulged? Is there anything else you want to willingly throw out there?
tidbits that I want to divulge about Scourge that I haven't already. What do you want to do you
Or
want
I'm dying
something
to know
like
about your dragons.
you want to know, but oh, I can't tell you about those. That's super
Oh,
spoilery.
okay.
I will tell you that you will see dragons in Scourged. I will tell you that.
I think I did
So
make that assumption.
yeah.
I was gonna ask if we will get any other fun creatures.
How to answer this? No, you will see you will see other types of magic,
Ooh, okay.
but no new creatures. Yeah.
Okay.
So do with that what you will. Yeah. So yeah, there will be new magic introduced. Um, lots of new secrets.
We like secrets.
Um, new world building tidbits. We will see more of the gods and the goddesses specifically doing their shit. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I guess the fact that you will see dragons and you will see new magic. Those are the two things that I think I'm willing to give you.
Okay.
I know everyone's been asking me questions about like the butterfly symbolism, right? Because there's like I talk about the butterfly is, the emoji I've been using for this book, and it's on the cover and all this stuff, right?
Can I
Mhm.
tell you about the assumption that I made before you tell us anything else?
Yes, please tell me what you think the butterfly means. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a little bit torn, but given what you've given us, like in this interview, like butterflies are typically like a symbol of like rebirth, new start, that type of situation, right? So I'm
Mhm.
Mhm.
assuming that that is um the middle piece of the book where you said there's like a lot of introspection, blah, 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 introspection and exposition and trying to figure things out. I'm assuming that it represents that. Also, you mentioned that I don't know if it's the exact quote, but it's like something along the lines of like the scourge of the earth has arisen or has returned or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be my other thought, is that that's what the butterfly potentially represents.
Okay. So I will say the butterfly is mostly symbolic. I will give you that. And don't expect a butterfly to like transform into a dragon or something like that. That's not going to happen.
I'll take
Like
that off my
some people,
bingo card.
I saw some people, they were like, the butterfly is the dragon. And I was like, no.
The butterfly is actually just a really small dragon.
I will give you that one right now. The butterfly is symbolic. So I love writing and symbolism and metaphor and simile. I don't know if you can tell that from Threaded, but like that's something me writing a metaphor, who would have thought? So I love writing a metaphor. So the butterfly is mostly a metaphor. I won't really tell you for what. Hopefully you understand. I have a specific theme I was really working towards in this book. Hopefully it comes through. If it doesn't, it's not a big deal. It's mostly for me anyways. um, and the butterfly does help symbolize that. Another recurring, I guess, symbol you will see in this book, specifically in part 2, are the eagles. The eagles, I think, are mentioned in book 1 in Threaded, the Avalon eagles, who roost out in the mountains behind the palace, basically. I think they're mentioned in Threaded. They become a more prevalent symbol in book 2. I don't specifically say in Scourge what they mean, but they do have a very specific meaning to me. It's not that important to like the whole story overall, so I don't like elaborate on like this is what the eagle means, you know.
I know what the eagle means.
What does the eagle mean?
You're really proud to be an American.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. Play that Toby Keith song right now. I'm kidding. No. But so yeah, so the eagle, you'll read it and you'll understand. I think hopefully you'll understand, like, the eagle represents something as well. And it is there, and if you've seen the map design that I've had done for this series, there are eagles in it as well, and that's why they're there. Again, it's very symbolic, to represent a very specific part of this world and this story. So yeah, just expect a lot of metaphor. You know me, I can't write a straightforward sentence to save my life, so
You gotta use that language because you can't as a lawyer. You have to write lots of straightforward sentences. So
exactly, I can't speak in metaphor as a lawyer. I have to just tell the court what I want. So, and Nancy, I saw you laugh at that, so don't think you got away with that.
Well, perfect. Is there anything else you would like to share before we let you go?
I don't know. This has been fun, you guys. I love this.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for being
I
here.
just remembered a question that I forgot to have us add.
I have more time. I know I gave you a cutoff time. I think I'm good though. So you're good. Don't feel like you're holding me on to anything.
How did you become a part of the coven?
How did I become a part of the coven? Aw. Pen Cole is how. I can't share too many details on how we kind of came to be, but I mean, I'm sure it's not a unknown. And Nancy, you may have maybe experienced this a little bit because I know you're writing a book as well, but being an author and writing a book is very kind of a alienating and I guess alienating experience. Like, it makes you feel very alone at times, right? It's just kind of you and your words. and your characters living together by themselves. And it can feel very just alone. You can feel very alone.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anyone to talk to about what you're going through, it can be kind of rough. So, I think I got to know Penn through this random like giveaway that we did back when Spark was just releasing and Threaded was a baby book. And we were in a giveaway together, and I think we probably tagged each other or something, and we just chatted a few times. And I think I decided to read her book. Loved Spark, 10 out of 10, amazing. And I maybe DM'd her a few times about loving it, and she's being sweet as Penn always does and is. And I think one day we just kind of got together and we were like, wouldn't it be nice to have a space where we could just be people and not just authors, right? Like where we could just have a group chat where we could just talk about how hard it is to do what we do day in and day out, and also manage other jobs and responsibilities and relationships and everything like that, and just talk about, bounce ideas off each other and basically try to strive to be the best, authors we can be and make our books as successful as they could be. And we just kind of decided, like, let's just get a group of girls in here and start making this. And we didn't really expect it to turn into what it did. But it just kind of evolved that way, right? We got really comfortable with each other really quickly. We kind of trauma dumped each other really fast, like overshared to the max. And Helen may have gotten like really overwhelmed and was like, "Can you please, for the love of God, make other channels so I don't get overwhelmed?" Like, sorry, Helen. Yeah, and that's kind of how it was. I mean, it was just like Penn and I got together one night and we're just like, we're feeling really down. We were maybe complaining to each other about, just how hard it is to be so isolated in what we do. And we wanted a little community to surround ourselves with, and boom, next thing you know, there she is.
That's so cute.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite cute. I literally remember the night that it kind of all came together and happened too. Like, I think I may have posted like a private Insta story or something. I don't know what it was. But Penn and I were DMing each other back and forth. Just, I don't even know, just frustrated about just writing or who knows what it was. And she's like, "I've had this idea for a while. Would you want to join it?" And I was like, "Absolutely. Don't ask me 3 times. I'm there." She made the coven, but that's not really what it was called. I don't know what it was even called at the beginning. And yeah, we just kind of added people to it, and it kind of, once it got to a point where we felt so comfortable with each other, it got to a point where we're just like, well, we can't really let anybody else in now, not because we don't want other people to join, but because we've shared so much. Like, you trauma bond with people pretty quickly, right? Like, and that's what happened. It was like this trauma bond that happened between this group of authors and like a night. It was like I was up to like midnight on this night, just like dumping all the frustrations about writing and just everything. And we all kind of got together about it. It was quite hilarious. And yeah, that's kind of how it went.
It's so awesome, like, that you guys were able to form this tight knit group. And there's a lot of you. This isn't like 3 people. There's almost
No,
10 of
yeah,
you. There's almost 10 of you.
yeah,
And it just makes me like so happy for you guys that you have that space, and that you just have like each other to like lean on when it's stuff you can't or don't feel comfortable talking about, like, with, it sounds weird to say people like us, but like,
yeah.
obviously you guys have struggles that are, I could not even begin to understand.
Yeah, no, I absolutely yeah, totally. It is not like we love our readers. Like, don't get me wrong, we love our readers so much. It's just like it's a different experience when you're writing as opposed to just reading, right? And so it's so
Mhm.
nice to just have someone there to share that experience with you. And not even just writing, just like the difficulties of publishing, like dealing with freaking Ingram Spark. I'm sure you guys have heard authors complain about Ingram Spark. and how
All the
annoying
time.
they are and how terrible they are, or just complaining about Amazon and their rankings and like, just how to, maximize your release and get your book out there and how to market yourself and market your books. And it's just like, it's so nice to have just like a group of girls that you can just kind of like lean on a little bit to like bounce ideas off of. And like, again, we love talking about these things with readers too, but it's like just like a different relationship, I suppose. And it's nice to just feel so safe somewhere that you can just, be yourself and complain when you need to complain, and grow when you need to grow. And I think a lot of authors could really benefit from having what we call the group chat, right?
Mhm.
To um, to just do what we do essentially, because I think everybody needs a release and everyone needs a place to vent, and get some of that anxiety out. Because what we do is so anxious, right? We write books that have a piece of our soul in them and we let them out into the world, and anyone can read them and anyone can have whatever opinion they want on them, and that's amazing, right? I fully support everyone having whatever opinion they want on books they read and books that I write or anything like that. But it is also a little scary, right? Like you're
Yeah.
letting people judge you on a piece of yourself. And it's nice to have a safe space to return to for whenever you feel like it's hard out there. And I think everybody, our creatives, need something like that, whether you're an author or a musician or, like Harley said, a photographer or anybody who does any kind of creative work. You're doing something like that where you're sharing a piece of yourself and you're exposing a piece of yourself and you need to let it out there. And it's really freeing to have a place that you can just do that, right?
Yeah, I agree. I know I've got like my like group of people who I can like go to vent to or like ask questions of or bounce ideas off of when I'm like, I'm in a creative rut. Here's idea X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
What do you think? And they'll be like, don't do that. That's fucking
Yeah,
ugly.
exactly. And someone who can be fully honest with you, right? Because like that's something that's great. It's like the total honesty without, you know, fear of something in return, like if something like lashing back in return, right? Like
It's
it's just someone who's like, there's a peer I can go to, they can tell me what they think, I can get honest feedback, and I can know what I'm doing is like best for me and my books, and I will return the favor to them next week, right?
Mm.
So
and like you said, like this is a group you're safe with. So like that
yeah.
even if their feedback is not good or not what you expected or wanted to hear, it comes from a place of love and wanting you to be a better author, tell the story in a more cohesive, like easier to understand way. They're saying that because they love you, not because they want to tear you down. They want what's
Yeah,
best.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly. And I mean, we don't really have a lot of time to read each other's books, so like a lot of this is like when it comes down to it, it's like marketing relating things or like cover design. And a lot of it's like I will send a picture of like maybe like an art brief I got from an artist or a cover design. And I'll just be like, I'm not vibing with this, but I don't quite know how to articulate what's wrong with it. And that's where they all are amazing resources and help out. It's like, okay, so this is what I didn't like. And this is what you can tell the artist fix, right? And make us better. And it's things like that, and like those are things that's like when you're just by yourself, like you don't always know how to put your thoughts into words to like an artist or a cover designer or someone like that, or even like an editor, right? um and so it's nice to just kind of bounce those kind of ideas off of it. Even sometimes we talk about plotting and stuff because we all have a pretty good understanding of craft. Like I mentioned craft earlier. When it comes to craft of writing stories, you can not have a single clue about what a story is about, but you can give me a premise and give me a plot hole to work through, and probably any one of us in that group can help you brainstorm ideas to help you work through that plot hole, because stories have to work in a certain way. And so it's nice to have that resource there. Like if I feel stuck, I know I can give like a basic premise, and then they can come back with me with ideas that maybe I won't adopt 100%, but I'll be like, ooh, I kind of like that. I can be twisted in my own way and make it something that's unique to me. So it's things like that that are really fun. So
Perfect. And we actually, if you have time for one more question, we had
Yeah.
Jack sent in a question like right after we started recording that I think is actually a really, really fun listener
Yeah.
question. And I think it's the perfect one to kind of end on. She asked if you could tell us something about each member of the armature that we won't learn in the books, but it's kind of like fun background character building information, but that you might not necessarily put in the book.
Oh, I'm reading this right now. I just clicked over to it. Oh, this is so good. Ooh. Okay. 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 Let's do this. Let's do it. Ugh, damn. Okay. So let's start with Andrian, right? Because he's just there. In the front of my head. God, but I feel like we know him really well. Is there something, there's like a specific question that you guys want to know about Andrian that isn't in the books?
Does he have any siblings? He doesn't, right?
He does have a sibling. He does have a brother. He's a little brother.
Did we know that?
I don't, I think so. I don't know. So yes, Andrian does have a little brother. I think it's maybe briefly mentioned in Threaded, but it is mentioned more in depth in Scorched. He has a brother. He has a little brother named Gabriel. Andrian has a little brother.
How old is his little brother?
His brother is 6 years younger than him. So Andrian's 31 at the beginning of Threaded. So 20, what, 27? 26? 26. 25.
Okay.
25.
Numbers are hard.
Numbers are hard. I've had 3 glasses of wine. Andrian is very protective of his little brother. He
Aw.
can't really explain why he's protective of his little brother. But he is. Andrian was not treated the best by his dad. I think we all know that. We've got some major daddy issues happening. But Gabriel was treated very differently by their dad. And Andrian didn't really have resentment about that. He was just always kind of worried that there was something else happening. And he wanted to protect his little brother from his dad. So yeah, Andrian has a definite soft spot for his little brother. That's a cute one right there, actually. But that'll probably come up in later books. So, I guess we can talk about things that we don't know so far.
Yeah, don't know so far is good.
Yeah. So, Sebastian has a perfectionist complex.
I feel like we did know that.
I think we know that. Yeah, he definitely needs to be perfect. He definitely needs to be perfect at all times. And when he's not perfect, things are not great for him.
Aw.
And he also has a habit of withholding information if he thinks that will hurt someone. Because he's very conscious about the way that his words impact people. And so he will sometimes not tell someone everything if he's concerned that it could cause someone harm. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's that. Quentin. Oh, Quentin. Quentin never knew his dad. Yeah. Quentin never knew his dad.
Okay, that's not where I thought that was going.
Yeah, Quentin never knew his dad. And his story of his mom is not great either. But he made the best of his life that he could. And he's forever grateful to Mariah for giving him an opportunity that he never would have had without her.
Oh,
So there's that. There's that about Quentin.
I feel bad for killing him now.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. He'll forgive you.
What about that sweet relief, Drew?
That what?
I said the sweet relief.
Oh yeah, the sweet leaf of death or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the blue star. Yeah. So Dristan, he's next to my mind. Oh, another thing about Sebastian. Here's something. Sebastian prefers rum over to over whiskey. He prefers rum to whiskey. That's another thing. Forgot about that.
He's a Malibu girly. Got it.
Yes, he's an Malibu girly. Actually, more like a Captain Morgan girly. That's a spiced
Okay.
rum.
Okay.
Spiced rum over whiskey. Andrea is a whiskey girly.
After
Let's
spending
see.
the
Okay,
weekend at your house, I'm
Dristan.
not surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Dristan. Oh my God. Okay, Dristan's kind of like a jack of all trades. He's pretty good at everything. This is so hard because I feel like you guys end up knowing a whole lot of this by the end of book 2. Fudge. uh, uh, uh,
Panicking. Does Tristan have any siblings?
No. Tristan does not have any siblings. Trevor does, though.
Okay.
Yeah, Trevor does. Tristan does not. Dristan will shock you. Not shock you. It'll be fun in book 2. Farron likes all kinds.
Oh.
Trevor definitely has a sibling. And Mateo, he, oh my God, this is so hard. Jesus Christ. I'm really
Wait,
having
can we go back to Trevor? What can I know something about him besides he has a sibling?
Trevor.
One other fact.
Whatever the fact, Trevor was the one who was injured and threaded at the parade. He was shot by an arrow in his shoulder. That was Trevor, and he had to relearn. Basically, he had to go through the healing process and relearn how to, fight again, basically. And yeah, that's Trevor. What else you want to know?
I don't. That's literally the only thing that I know about him.
He's really cute. He's also no. Mateo's the youngest. Trevor's the second youngest. And him and Mateo are kind of menaces together because they're the 2 youngest of the armature. So they kind of act the most like boys, I guess, if you were to say, just like cute boys doing boy things. So yeah, that's them. Yeah, and Mateo, Sebastian always thought Mateo was something different than what Mateo actually was, and that's all I'll say.
What?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Their relationship is cute. It's also cute. That's all I can say. That was a hard question.
Can
My
we circle back
goodness.
to
Yeah, we
Farron?
can circle back. Yeah, what's up?
He's pansexual?
I don't know. Is he?
Is that not what you said?
I don't know.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Well,
then
she
if
said
that's
he likes
find
all
out.
types. She didn't say type of what.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
I can tell you.
good catch.
It's something though.
Okay. The sibling question is just like a good one because I'm always very, very curious about how if someone's like an eldest or a youngest or a middle, because that seems to like have an effect on who they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really does.
But okay, that is all we've got for you.
Oh, did we have you plug your socials and your website and whatnot?
Okay, so yeah, you can follow me, Tay Rose, on Instagram and TikTok at Tay Rose Books. And my website is also tayrosebooks.com, where you can subscribe to my newsletter. And you can also join my Discord, which is linked on my website and it is linked on my Instagram page. And that is kind of a reader group to talk about my books and interact with me on a more personal basis. So that is where you can find me. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sick.
Did you know, have you ever been to the website tayrose.com?
tayrose.com. Why? What
Why
is
do I
it? Oh
feel
my
like it's like
god.
a dildo website?
It's not a dildo website. It is a design website. I think it's interior design. It's really pretty. I accidentally went to
Tay
that earlier
Rose.
today.
I went to Tay Rose Design Interior. Ooh.
Oh.
It's really pretty.
Oh, it says tailored home interiors. Interesting. Okay. No, yeah. So I am Tay Rose Books. Tay Rose Books. I'm typing it in. .com.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's me. And you can subscribe to my newsletter on that first page with that hot picture of Mariah right there. And sexy as hell. My girl. I got weird. So
You're 3 glasses of wine deep. It's fine.
I sure am, honey.
I love it. Well, thank you for being here. Thanks for getting wine drunk and hanging out with us.
Yeah,
It was
thank
just
you.
fun. I love getting wine drunk on a Thursday with y'all. So good.
Yeah, come do it again. We'll do
Yeah,
this
let's do
some
this all the
more.
time.
Oh,
Yeah, for
yeah.
real. All the time.
We should.
Okay. Good night.
Okay, love you guys. Love you guys. Bye.
Okay, so
Good
fun.
night.
All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. Follow us on Instagram at Bound and Book Podcast. My personal Instagram is at UndercoverFaye.
You can find me over at HJK Reads. That's my initials. It's a fun time over there.
And you can find me at Nancy Reads and Writes on Instagram as well.
Thanks for reading with us, motherfuckers. Bye.
Bye.
I am